Hello and welcome to the EMTV Friday Focus. Myself, Graham Munsey, joined by Dave Harley as we look back on an 8-point victory for the Monarchs. 49-41 the final score for your Stellar Monarchs home men. We'll hear from Monarchs number 1 Josh Pickering, Glasgow number 3 Anders Rowe, and of course our heat of the night is heat number 15. Dave, coming into the match, both teams kind of knew what was required. A win for the Monarchs would move them up to 7th in the league table, not where anyone wants to be, but certainly better than 9th. And a win for the Tigers really needed to keep the pressure on Workington for the playoffs. As it was a little bit in the middle. The Monarchs did get the win, Glasgow get the bonus point, which gives them a little bit more kind of things if Plymouth do get a result against Workington tomorrow. But from Monarchs' point of view, a fairly solid night throughout, and nice to finish the home league campaign on a win.
Yeah, definitely. This is the kind of performance I've been looking for all year. You know, we were solid from the start. You know, picking up good points. We didn't run the last place till what was it, Heat 7, and that was against a tactical substitute. Glasgow did come back to it a bit later on, to be fair to them, but we didn't. We made sure the meeting was won by Heat 14, and as you say, just missed out on that aggregate bonus point. But just what we're hoping for from the team to finish the night and finish the season and make sure we avoided that bottom spot.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a feeling in the camp that they were up against 10 men for the bonus point, with a couple 8 men, sorry. Speedway, not a red card, extra man. A couple of refereeing decisions that certainly we'll hear from Josh Pickering. He felt maybe could have went the other way, but that's Speedway, isn't it? And on the night, that man Pickering was to the fore once again. 4 wins from his first 4, just pipped in a rerun in Heat 15 after he had made the start the first time. And we kind of heard an interview with him after that might be his Armadale swan song for now, and if it was a fitting way to go. He wanted the 15-point max, but 14 out of 15 and only getting beat by Chris Harris isn't a bad way to go out.
Yeah, fantastic from Josh, and he did look great all night. And as you said already, that first run of Heat 15, I'd seen a replay and I didn't see anything wrong with it, to be honest. But yeah, no, fantastic from Josh, and we won't miss him if that is the last time. Hopefully we might turn him over in Scunthorpe and we've got a chance there. But again, Paco made sure winning Heat 14. You know, he got his 3 second places. Last year, Paco getting three threes. That's kind of solid. As we talked about, Joe Thompson was excellent as well, so that backed us up, and yeah, as well as Dan and Connor, probably his best performance as well. It's
a special mention to the Thompson boys. It's always hard to come in a guest this time of the season, but they both acquitted themselves well. I think it was paid 7 for Joe and paid 10 for Dan, so well done to both of them. Couldn't ask for much more. And as you say, Connor, kind of one of those strange nights, wasn't it? It was 7 plus 1. But it was a solid 7 points. You know, we've seen higher scores and equal scores to that from Connor. But fans maybe were getting a little bit frustrated he was getting passed. I don't think he was passed at any point tonight. You know, where he gated was kind of where he stayed all night. He maybe would have been hoping for a wee bit better in Heat 12. Both the Monarchs in that one probably hoping for a wee bit better. But overall, what we've been asking for, haven't we? There was no 5-1 against in Heat 2. That gave us the platform to build early, and a payday in the top scorer in reserve overall in the night. What you're looking for from your senior reserve at home, so well done to Connor on that. So overall, it was a pleasing performance, kind of from top to bottom, led by number 1 Josh Pickering, who I caught up with in the pits after. So Josh, I spoke to you during the week for the programme, and you said you weren't finishing the season to defeat to Glasgow at home, and that was away. An 8-point victory for the Monarchs on the night, 14 points for yourself, and
should have been 15.
Should have been 15, and we'll say, you know, we won't get ourselves in too much trouble by saying what we think of the first go at Heat 15, but overall a good solid night for the team.
No, I'll say exactly what I think, to be honest. There's where reactions are just perfect, mate. We're riding all the time, there's pressure running, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that millisecond to go, and there was nothing wrong with Dan's start at all. He done the same last night to me at Ipswich, and fortunate enough I come back and still won the race. But yeah, I sort of wanted to go out on a high here this year at Edinburgh, and you know, a 15-point maximum would have been very fitting, as well as pumping Glasgow out the league. So quite disappointing end, but at the end of the day we still got the job done, and it was a good win for the team.
Yeah, you mentioned there, and it was, you know, kind of positives for most of the team. Maybe Lassie will be a bit annoyed with his night, but you know, the Thompson boys came in and rode fantastically. Paco got that heat win in 14. Connor, I think, is paid 8.
Yeah.
You know, Max gets his point and then comes up against Harris and Rowe and pretty much the rest of his races. So everyone can take positives to that tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And also with that race when Lassie got excluded, like Matty Kevicic's bike cut out going over the start line, and then he was sort of on the inside. Where's Lassie meant to go? You know, like it was definitely a racing incident. Lassie wasn't at fault, so there was a couple of calls I feel like did go against us tonight, and that obviously puts a bit of a sour taste in Lassie's end of the night. So yeah, but taking positive, like I'm feeling good, I'm riding good, I'm enjoying me racing, and if anyone's to beat me and stop me from a max, I can handle it being Bomber.
I was going to say, I kind of mentioned before, you know, anytime you put you and him on the same track, it tends to be good. We maybe had to wait till heat 15 for that. I saw you watching it when I came over, and you're annoyed at yourself. You say you maybe showed him where you wanted to be a little bit too early.
Nah, I was annoyed in the first one. There was nothing wrong with it. So I was away and everything was all right. And then when I sort of went back there and had a bit of a dig around, I wasn't 100% confident with where it was. And then as I've gone down the straight, the first lap going into turn 3, I was dive bombing him, and I was bombering the bomber, and I showed probably a little bit too much respect and completely shut my bike all the way down and only drifted up to the middle of the corner. If I continued right out to the fence, I probably could have continued my speed up, and maybe it would have been a different story. But look, we can take the positive out of it. It hasn't been a great year for Edinburgh. We've been working away, but injuries and other circumstances, we just haven't been winning enough meetings. You know, quite disappointing, really. But like I said, to end tonight with a win against Glasgow, obviously there's going to be a lot of Edinburgh supporters happy that they're not going to progress into the playoffs. So job done on that side of things.
Yep, Monarchs number 1, Josh Pickering there. If we flip over to the other side of the page and look at kind of the Glasgow Tigers scores, led brilliantly, you know, 4 heat wins out of 6 and only beaten twice by Josh. Chris Harris, always a pleasure to see Chris Harris here, and he had a great race with Dan Thompson. He had a great heat win in heat 15 as well, under pressure from Josh throughout that. Beyond that, you know, Anders Rowe, he backed him up well with 9, a couple of heat wins, and then we'll hear some of it was vision issues that caused him to pull up in the last one. I think he forgot to put his tear-offs back in for the rerun, so you couldn't see. 1 heat win each for Ben Barker and Matt Ivicic, but too many last places. I think, you know, Cammy Brown said it in his interview after heat 14 at that point. He said 7 heat wins each, so I guess if he's right, that means it was 8 heat wins to 7 for Glasgow, but you get beat by 8 points, because on the flip side it was 11 last places to 4 or something along those lines. And you know, that's what we say, you know, you win the heats, that's great, but if your partner's at the back, you're not getting anywhere. And then on the flip side, if you run a last and don't win the heat, then it's a heat advantage to the other team. So maybe just not that consistent solidarity, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I just scanned that quickly. You're right, it's 8-7 to us, just but as you say, you know, and that's what we're talking about from the Monarchs' perspective. Too many times we've been the same. We've been race winners, last places. Tonight, you know, we're only last week. Young Max has struggled tonight for whatever reason, you know, but he still picked up a good point in heat number 2. Yeah. And then obviously with Lassie just trying a bit too hard. You know, some will say he's unlucky. I thought it was probably the right decision, because he was just a wee bit out of control when he made the pass. But we're creeping out the last places. So Glasgow finishing last, and he always felt even when Glasgow got back into it, we would have enough in the end. But but Harris again excellent, and shame he stopped us getting a wee super heat at the end there. But it'd be nice to finish with an extra race in the last league match of the season. But good win though.
And as you say, maybe just not the kind of the strength throughout that we're used to from a Glasgow team of years gone past. And it kind of makes the maths reasonably simple. In any win for Workington at home to Plymouth on Saturday, I won't say tomorrow in case people are watching this after, with Josh Pickering guessing at number 1 for Workington as well, might I add, will confirm Glasgow are out of the playoffs. If Plymouth pull off a win at Workington, that bonus point I think does mean that any win on Sunday against Oxford would then put Glasgow into the playoffs. We wouldn't need the 21 point, or the 20 plus point win now, but that's all by and by for the future. One man who did back up Chris Harris well, 2 heat wins for Anders Rowe. He's been a cracking signing for Glasgow since coming in for Stevie Worrell, and I caught up with him after. So Anders, I guess the aim for the Tigers coming through was the victory. Bonus point was secured though, so all eyes now go to hoping Plymouth can do you a favour tomorrow. But just how was it out there tonight? You had a good night, but maybe some of the guys were struggling at the starts a little.
Yeah, you know, Edinburgh's a tricky little track, and it's a cool. Once you get your head around the track, it's really fun. And yeah, I sort of trying to help the boys as much as I could, and I had a good night and just having fun racing my bike, getting the job done. So had a little thing in heat 15 after I had a good start in the first one, and then the second one I didn't get a tail off my goggles and I couldn't see where I was going, so I couldn't even see the green light come on. So yeah, it's one of them things, but yeah, try and get the other boys going, but yeah, didn't go our way tonight.
Overall though, you know, you come into Glasgow for, I guess, including the guest bookings, for the last kind of eight or nine matches, and it seems like a good move for both. You know, you've been scoring well, and the Tigers have been going well, so it's maybe something to kind of look back on for this year as a success.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like they needed a rider, and I wanted to ride, so yeah, it happened, and yeah, I've had a fun time at Glasgow. It's been fun, and yeah, I've scored some points and won some good races, and yeah, been to some, like half of the track I haven't been to any of them this year, so yeah, it's been good, and having a lot of fun and keeping busy.
Yeah. And then looking at 2024 as a whole, you know, in the Premiership you've moved into the main body of the team, and King's one season's probably just ending too soon. The form they're on, big points, kind of abroad and going well, so I guess overall it's been a good year.
Yeah, it's been my best year to date so far, and yeah, it's all working well, and having a lot of fun, and just racing my bike, and moved into the main team at Kingston. It's been a fun year, and like you said, it's in a way we finished too early because we've been really good the last couple of meetings. We won 5 meetings, and we were 6 up yesterday at Leicester, and we went down to the super heat for the bonus points. So yeah, it's one of them things, but yeah, I'm looking forward to I've got a couple more meetings this year, and then have a nice rest for the winter, build some new bikes, and go again next year.
Yeah, and there's Rowe there. He's been a cracking signing and a sort of glimmer of light in Glasgow's season towards the end. But that wraps up the SGB Championship campaign here at Armory. Of course, there is still a fair amount of speedway still to come. Starts off next Friday, a National Development League doubleheader against Bellevue. William Cairns, he's the hot prospect in that one, and Sheffield Scunthorpe, isn't it?
I don't know what they call themselves on their away from
yeah,
moments.
I'm never really sure. We know it's the Sheffield Scunthorpe or Scunthorpe Sheffield Joe team. One note for that: 7 PM is your start for that one with 30 heats of National Development League action to get through. Next Saturday, it's the British Youth Championships. Another gazillion heats in that one, with all classes in tow, and then the following Friday the final track action, potentially at Armadale, pending BSN series. It will be the Monarchs Academy against National Development League winners Leicester. So still a lot of speedway to come. Get yourself along, enjoy it. We'll be back during the week to preview all of that with a social, but as always before then, we finish with our heat tonight. There was a couple other good races. Chris Harris had a good pass on Dan Thompson, heat 14 from Paco, but we don't want to be accused of too much Edinburgh bias, so we'll show you a wee Glasgow heat win. I got them the bonus point, but a decent race in heat 15. Chris Harris and Josh Pickering. We'll see that now.
Same 4 riders obviously: Dan Thompson, Chris Harris, Josh Pickering, Anders Rowe. Goes away very well this time, towards Harris. Harris moves out to block Pickering. Here comes a charge from Josh Pickering. He's gone under Harris superbly well there. Harris cuts back, and Harris leads. We've lost Anders Rowe, so the battle is up front. Chris Harris in a position to clinch the bonus for Glasgow. Josh Pickering ferocious in pursuit. Ferocious. Harris on the wider line there though. And that's the faster. So the decision by Chris Gay to stop the first one is going to result in the bonus point going to Glasgow, with a tremendous ride by Chris Harris to spoil Josh Pickering's maximum and take the 1 bonus point.
We think we maybe saw heat 15 there. If not, we'll chuck it onto social media and have it. I think the stream went down before heat 15, so maybe it's just a ghost heat that only people in attendance can talk off in years to come. That'll do us for just now. We'll be back midweek using some better and different software, hopefully. And until then, thanks as always for watching, and goodbye.
Bye for now.